Market meltdown accelerates. Let's move to the next slide. Things were kind of quiet yesterday, and then all of a sudden we just slid down.
Yeah, yeah.
Dow, Nasdaq, S&P, Russell facing 2 week losses. Matter of fact, the only one of those four that's positive on the year right now is the Dow. Every one of the other three are in the red. So Trump administration is going to enact 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Originally, it was going to be April 1st, moved up to March 4th, and a lot of people feel like that's what contributed to this slide over the last couple of days as it's coming ahead. I mean, what do I want to say? What's the fear do you feel? I mean, what's the real fear in the air here as far as everything's going? I mean, everybody feels like we've seen this a lot of times, right? Like the market moves one way because they think something's going to happen. It's the uncertainty, right? And then eventually market gets a little more clarity and things change. So, I mean, is that how you're approaching this, or you feel like, oh, this is really bad and we're in trouble here?
Yeah, I think I think it's a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. I think the market is moving lower on the fear of everything that's going to change. And I think once it comes out, now I don't know where we're going to be. I don't know if even the S&Ps are going to be 5,900 where they are now. They're going to be 5,600 when everything comes out, or they're going to be 6,100. I mean, I have no idea. But when it comes out and it's done, usually you get a little bit of a move in the opposite direction. It kind of gets overdone. Seems to be to the downside right now. And that's what we're kind of looking at for a little bit of a nibble in the market.
I think Tony's right. I think that it was the stock market. There was too much complacency. It was too crowded a trade. Everybody was in on the same 7 or 8 stocks. There was too much, election euphoria, all this kind of stuff. I think reality is starting to show right now, and there's a lot of pushback to this new administration's policies. There's a lot of pushback to the fact that everybody might be a little bit overdone in digital currencies. Everybody might be a little too long the same 7, 8, 9, 10 stocks. We might have got a little too far ahead of ourselves in the Palantirs of the world, and we might have got a little too far ahead of ourselves, with AI and everything else. I think, and we might get a little too excited about, the state of the economy, and I don't think, everything that's being done in Washington right now is giving anybody any more confidence. So I think the market's probably telling us there's a message in here. And maybe it is that we need to wash out a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I agree with Tony. I think maybe 5,600 is the number. Maybe 50. We're almost, we're 5,800 is the first stopping point. And maybe 5,600, to scare them a little bit. If you look at the bond market, we got to levels that bond traders didn't think we were going to get to. Stock traders didn't really care, but bond traders never thought we'd get there. There's no reason the stock market can't get to levels that the stock traders don't think we can get to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we usually do.
And we usually do is right.
Right.
Yeah, we usually do. And then there's a washout and then things change.
Yeah.
For this week's cherry on top, I heard 2 things in there, and I feel like it should be, probably just repeated again and again. I think Tony is right. I think I heard that twice, but I'm just saying. I was just pointing that out. The good, not great showing for NVIDIA this week in earnings it was a good day for the vol sellers and NVIDIA earnings in there. It just really didn't. It looked like it was going to bounce in the after hours and coming into after earnings on Thursday, but ended up being I wouldn't say a non-event. It just ended up being kind of falling flat. You mentioned crowding. Bitcoin below 90K for the first time since December, and Ether at 6 months lows. So both are about 25% and 45% off their highs, respectively. And then you got VIX that closed above 20 for the first time since the December Fed meeting. And VVIX is at the highest close since January 10th. So, yeah, we've had quite a change in markets here over the last couple of days. Let's move to the next slide.
Did ETH get under 2,000, Tony? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I just saw this morning it's like 2040 something, 2046, something like that.
Okay. I didn't know if it got under 2,000.
The cash got under 2,000 by $4, Saad. Okay. The futures did not.
Got it.
Yeah. This is the way I always love to look at vol, the difference between VIX and historical vol. And right now, probably about a 10 tick difference between them. It's fairly elevated from what we've seen so far, obviously meaning there's some good vol selling opportunities out there. Anytime you see SPX or SPYs, IVR in the 30s, those are some good selling opportunities, quite honest. You just got to be a little careful, a little choosy. And again, you don't want to, this is where you're really paying attention to capital levels, right? Because like Tony said, we don't know, none of us know where the market's going from here. So just be a little
That's right. That's right. That's the key there. Nobody knows where the market's going. We've said that at nauseam. Nobody knows where the market's going. But it's certainly, if you're a little bit of a bull, it's a better price today than it was yesterday, a better price than it was 2 weeks ago. So pick your poison. More importantly, pick the best strategy to fit your assumption where you have a high probability of success.
Yep. I've started layering into different put spreads. If there's anything that I do today, there's at a point now where I might start looking at certain upside, so call spreads to start selling just in case. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to the next slide. As Tom mentioned it, a little overcrowding. This is just since this year, this is Dow, NASDAQ, S&P, IWM, and MAGS, which is a ETF that signifies the Magnificent Seven. You can see that that's leading the way. Those stocks have gotten crushed. I would say it started around earnings, right? Like some of those didn't necessarily perform well on earnings, similar to what we saw in NVIDIA. And I think that was the clue. So I typically have played a lot of the Mag 7 names on earnings, sometimes to the upside based on my calendar call spreads. I didn't want to in NVIDIA because I just didn't see it doing anything positive, honestly, just because a lot of those names hadn't performed well on earnings. And this is your proof in the pudding right here, basically.
And NVIDIA a little bit weaker since you just mentioned it, down by about $3 this morning, 117.5 on the offer.
Yeah, 117.5. Whoa.
Yep.
Where did it close yesterday? Like 123 or no?
120.
No, 120 and change. Down
okay.
$3.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's move to the next slide. Rolling bond correlation is all over the place, man. Of course, in typical years, this would be a negative correlation, right? We've seen it moving all over. Anything close to 0.5 correlation obviously is meaningful. And we saw that a lot of last year. Coming into this year, it started to change, but then it went back positive, and now it's dipping. So, it's all over the place when you're looking at correlation between bond and stocks right now. And who knows where it's going to go next? I mean, again, I would like to see it back to what we're used to seeing with this negative correlation. It could be heading back there, but this is just to signify it's kind of turning the corner a little bit.
Yeah, we've been taking a look at bonds. We've been trading bonds, kind of light on bonds right now. We were long them as they went down a little bit, caught the nice up move, and pretty much flat here, right?
Yeah, we're flat.
Pretty much. Yeah. Let's move to the last slide.
Not really looking to get short bonds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
It's almost like a commodity. You'd rather be long it on the way down.
Yeah, I don't want to get short them here.
I mean, look, we're in like a 50-month drawdown in bonds, and honestly, this is the first time where it seems as though something that's happening might contribute to bonds possibly continuing a run. I mean, with both pullbacks here and there, of course, but yeah, I'm long bonds. I'm looking to stay long them at this point. Feels like it's finally time, honestly.
Got it.
Meta announced that they have some experimental Gen 2 research classes. They also plan to release a standalone Meta AI app to compete with ChatGPT. Speaking of ChatGPT, OpenAI is launching GPT 4.5, its next general purpose large language model. Damn, that's a mouthful. Amazon AWS unveils their prototype quantum computing chip. So that seems to be, it's funny. What was that? Beginning of the year, NVIDIA guy said we're about 30 years away from quantum stuff, but now everybody's starting to sort of at least dabble in that area, sort of like what we were seeing with AI a couple of years ago. Everybody's starting to feel like they need to dabble in it a little bit, it seems.